Late one evening in 1969, a man was making his way home from Rochester in Kent, England, after a long shift at work, driving along the A229 on Bluebell Hill near Maidstone. The road was eerily quiet, though not unusually so for that time of night, except for the occasional gust of wind, the light mist that had started to form on the hill. As the man approached Bluebell Hill, he spotted two pedestrians on the side of the road walking towards him. The figures were only dimly lit by his car's headlights, and as he squinted, trying to get a better look, he thought he made them out to be two young women. But just as they were coming into focus, they vanished. 4 years later, Maurice Goodenough, a bricklayer from Rochester, had his own unnerving experience. It was the early hours of July 13th, 1974, and Maurice was driving home over Bluebell Hill. The conditions were fairly normal, quiet apart from a light mist that had begun to form. Suddenly, and without warning, a young girl appeared in front of his car.
The girl just walked out in front of me from the edge of the road,
he later recalled. Maurice had no time to react, and the impact was brutal. The sound of the collision, steel impacting vulnerable flesh, reverberated in his ears long after he'd brought the car to a halt.
My car hit her with a hell of a bang.
Recovering from the shock, he leapt from the vehicle and found the girl lying still on the road. He could see blood on her forehead and her legs had been badly grazed, but she was alive. Thinking quickly, he covered her with a blanket from his car and then tried to flag down passing cars, but none stopped. Panicked and deciding it wouldn't be wise to move her, he drove to Rochester Police Station and returned with police officers, only to find nothing but a blanket and no girl. A thorough search of the area revealed no traces of blood, no signs of a hit and run, and no tracks leading away from the road. And Maurice's car wasn't damaged in the slightest. Despite the lack of evidence, Maurice was certain he hadn't imagined the incident.
I'm not going mad, but where did she vanish? I'm still shaking from the experience,
he later said when interviewed by the News of the World. Years passed, and the legend of Bluebell Hill grew. The local press had a field day reporting on the ghost of Bluebell Hill, and by 1992, rumours of a ghostly figure haunting the area were still being whispered across the county. Then, one chilly November evening, Ian Sharp, a coach driver on his way home to Maidstone, had his own encounter. As he was driving home through the light mist that had begun to form, a young woman appeared directly in front of his vehicle. In that split second, her eyes locked onto his in a chilling, unblinking stare, and Ian hit her head on, her body disappearing beneath the car. He slammed the brakes and scrambled out, his heart pounding with fear. But when he knelt to check beneath the car, nothing.
I honestly thought I killed her. You can't imagine how it felt. I was so scared to look underneath. But I knelt, and I looked straight through. There was nothing there.
There was no body, no sign of the woman at all. Shaken, Ian rushed to the police, who, having prior experience at this point, calmly explained to him the long-standing legend of the Bluebell Hill ghost. That same month, 2 more motorists claimed to have hit a woman in a red scarf near Robin Hood Lane. But just like Ian and Maurice, nothing and no one was ever found. The ghost, or ghosts, of Bluebell Hill seemed to favour this lonely stretch of road. In the 1960s and 70s, there are many local accounts from residents who claim to have seen a woman walking at the side of the road, including one ambulance driver who offered a lift to a woman wearing a wedding dress who had stepped into the road. She agreed and got into the back of the ambulance. By the time they had arrived in Rochester, she was gone. Who or what could this ghostly figure be? a young girl walking the side of the road, sometimes in a wedding dress, and every time vanishing into the night. In 1965, there was an incident that might just help us clear things up a little. On November the 19th, 1965, 3 friends were returning from a hen night. More specifically, they were returning from 24-year-old Suzanne Brown's hen night. She was driving her Ford Cortina along the A229 up Bluebell Hill, when suddenly the car span out of control, colliding with a car coming in the opposite direction. Suzanne's friend, 22-year-old Judith Lingham, died at the scene. Suzanne and the other friend she was traveling with, 23-year-old Patricia Ferguson, died at Maidstone Hospital days later, and the accident itself happened on the eve of Suzanne's wedding day. Now, despite how it might appear, I don't actually believe in ghost stories, just good stories. But if you were to take a hypothetical trip with me into the world of the believers, it's not too difficult to see why. In the decades that followed this awful accident, that lonely road might still echo with the memories of those that were lost.
I mean, it's not really a lonely road anymore. It's now more of an incredibly busy multi-lane highway.
But perhaps every now and then, on a curiously quiet night, as a low mist begins to form across the tarmac, a lonely girl in an old wedding dress still wanders the hard shoulder, looking for a ride to a wedding that never happened. Now, often we have to remember with these ghost stories that they often start with real people and real tragedy, and our thoughts and sympathies are still with the loved ones of the 3 young women who lost their lives back in 1965.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to like and subscribe and leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.